After the referendum, political chaos. Tonight, we hear what the voters think. It's question time.
Yeah, it's fucking answers time as well today.
We're in Preston, Lancashire tonight, and welcome to you all and to our panel, the Conservative Education Minister, Sam Gyimah, Labour's new Shadow Foreign Secretary, one of the few people to start and end the week in the Shadow Cabinet, Emily Thornberry, the one UKIP Member of Parliament, Douglas Carswell, the Times columnist Melanie Phillips, and the comedian Russell Kane.
Is it feasible to have access to the single market and still control our borders?
What, you mean in the same way that the rest of the world trades with the EU?
But are we now in a position to cherry pick? We have voted to leave the European Union, so how can we now pick and choose the best parts of the internal market?
That's down to our negotiating team. We actually can, if we do it right. It's all about having a position of strength and showing a position of strength. And the EU basically stands to lose more in trade and jobs than we do if this fucks up. So yeah, theoretically we can. The counter-argument is, if they give us a deal that's too good, then other countries will simply leave and go for the best parts of the deal themselves. Well, that would be the best way forward for the EU. This ridiculously anti-democratic organisation that has thrown Portugal's people's will, even their democratically elected government, didn't get to power because of the EU. Greece, who chose in a referendum not to pay German and French banks back. No, EU wouldn't have it, overturn that democratic decision. The EU is inherently undemocratic. There's no accountability at the top. The 5 presidents can't be voted out. Therefore, the bigger issue is that the EU needs to go. And if other countries leave, then so be it. But we need to push for that decent deal and get it. EU be damned.
A very good question. The original question is obviously whether we can get a deal around single market and not free movement. Now, I voted for Britain to remain in the EU, mainly because I believe the opportunities for the next generation made it.
We don't fucking care. You lost. We don't care why you voted this shitty way. Shut up.
On balance, the right decision for us as a country.
Really, still don't care why you voted to remain. It's irrelevant. And it's not like you voted because you thought it was a shitty thing to do and you wanted to fuck the country up. And even if you did, you're not going to sit there and admit to it, are you? So everything you're saying is absolutely pointless.
Today, our country is divided, given the referendum result. A significant number of people voted for Remain, but the majority in this country voted to leave the EU.
Unreal. Are you going to say something interesting or informative at all? Or are you just going to keep stating the obvious? Is there a Captain Obvious hat? You should have one on this show. Dimbleby should just pull it out and whap it on his head right now.
Well, what do you think was the key to the referendum result? Was it immigration, or was it the political business of leaving the EU?
You're going to ask that guy to speak for 17 million people that he doesn't know. There's an awful lot of politicians trying to speak for 17 million people who they don't know. You can't say it was about immigration. You can't say it was about sovereignty. No matter how obvious you think the answer is, you cannot speak for 17 million people, and they will all have had different reasons. Immigration was a big thing, yes. Sovereignty was a big thing, yes. How does it split? Is anyone talking to these 17 million people? Are you talking to the Labour supporters to find out why they voted against their own party? Well, they were voting against the Conservatives at the same time, so it wasn't that much of a surprise, was it? Come on, stop fucking trying to make it up. This is where the divide happens. 17 million people say something. Now, a politician who doesn't understand why they said it starts to guess at the reasons they said it, and you're disconnected all over again. That's fucking stupid. He's going to try and answer the question, and I honestly don't want to hear it, not a word of it.
I'm very disappointed in this result. I'll lay my cards on the table. You know, I campaigned really hard for us to remain in the European Union, and the reason that I did was because I thought that it was best for our country that we did remain in the European Union. I didn't think that
Shut up.
You listen to Douglas Carswell, and then 2 minutes later... hang on. And then 2 minutes later you listen to Boris Johnson, and then 2 minutes later you listen to Michael Gove. They'll all say different things because they do not have a clear idea of what it is they have done to this country. They have led us into this dark space, and they have abandoned us.
What are you talking about? They've opened up a golden era, not dark days. And what's this talk of abandonment? Michael Gove is running for leadership of the Conservative Party, which if he wins would make him Prime Minister. How was that abandonment? Boris Johnson got stabbed in the back by the party faithful and Michael Gove. How was that abandonment? What the fuck are you talking about? Are we so inert to this idea of the loudest bastards lead us into the future that we just latch onto them even if they're only representing a campaign? The fuck are you talking about?
As for
Point made,
taking
Emily,
back
thank you.
control of our country, that is not what has happened.
Yes, it has, but you won't see the effects for 2 years. Jesus, this woman is so high up in politics, she's in the shadow cabinet. No wonder we get fucked from time to time.
It's quite extraordinary that the shadow minister, there is still a shadow minister left in the Labour Party, a shadow minister should say that we should disregard the outcome. That is quite
I
extraordinary.
didn't say that.
You might not have stated it, but you implied it with every fucking word that came out of your mouth just then. That's very childish. Seriously, if the public can't see through this, they deserve to be fucked.
Row, yes.
I voted in, but the majority of people that I spoke to the day after and said, well, who voted out? I said, well, why did you vote out? And not one of them could give me a reason. They all said, well, you know, I was convinced that it would solve immigration problem.
So that's one of the reasons that you just said they couldn't give you.
I'm not sure. So there's so, like the Labour lady
I
said.
think the man in front of you who thrust his hand up, did you vote out? Yes, you explain.
Yeah, the reason I voted out is because when David Cameron went to renegotiate our deal with the European Union, I don't think he got what we wanted.
You're right, he didn't. He didn't get anything.
And on the day of the vote, there were people, I won't say who, members of my family dancing around saying, they're going home, they're going home. These are carpenters, plumbers and labourers who think their wages are going to increase once these people leave the country.
Now I ask you, is that a problem of our labourers being fucking stupid? You would have to get the wrong end of weeks and weeks of campaigning to think that an exit vote meant that we were sending immigrants home. That's just brainless. But I tell you what, maybe they are a bit stupid. Wonderful skills, I'm sure, but maybe they are a bit stupid. But maybe it's time our tabloid gutter press stopped being so fucking sensationalist about immigrants and how well they're treated, about scroungers, about benefits cheats, about foreigners coming here and taking the NHS places, houses, council houses, benefits. Perhaps our gutter press should stop harping on about that and blaming everything on immigrants in a lateral sort of way, and then complaining that there's a racist element in our society. No, if the people are not stupid enough to think for themselves and they're coming out that badly informed, there's a problem with the informing process. I know damn well it's the British press that have done that.
So if you join the single market and then we have free movement of labour, you're going to have a lot of angry people wondering what the hell they voted for in the first place.
The people you're talking about had no idea what they were voting on. They didn't understand the issues well enough to warrant having a voice on them. In some ways, it's a shame they even fucking voted. But because they voted leave, I'm going to support them a little bit. And to be fair, people on both sides of the debate would have been too stupid to understand the issues. I don't know how you can be that ill-informed. I don't know how you can think that a Brexit vote would mean sending immigrants home. It doesn't make sense at all. You'd have to be fucking stupid. You'd have to not pay attention to any media outlets at all. Well, no sensible ones. You might be reading the Daily Mail, the Mirror, or the Sun. You're certainly not watching the fucking 6 o'clock or 10 o'clock news on telly, because there's no fucking way you'd get that impression. It's ridiculous. So, yeah, you were talking about the idiot block vote, but the idiot block vote, point being, is full of idiots, so their votes cancel each other out because they don't know what they're doing. That's the only saving grace about idiots being able to vote. but that doesn't mean that most of the 17 million people are smart enough to understand some of the issues involved. I don't get this continual implication that people who voted to leave were either racist or too stupid to understand. That's the subtext going on here. Nah, don't be fucking stupid. It's not like that at all. The leave vote was the sensible vote. The leave vote was the historically poignant vote. It was about stopping the EU dead in its tracks. It wasn't a totalitarian tiptoe. It was a totalitarian march. It fucked with every aspect of life and legislation and courts. It was unaccountable, high-level wielded power which always fucks up, and as soon as they mentioned the EU army, even if we didn't have a referendum timetabled, we should have fucking put one out. No, it was time for us to get out. By any standard, it was time for us to get out. It's the Remainers and their short-term bullshit. We can't claim our freedom back because we'll have a recession. Are you fucking kidding me? Yes, we can. Yes, we will. It's worth it. So don't talk about the fucking idiots and what they did. Talk about what we're gonna do next. Talk about anything. Talk about something fucking useful.
It was Boris and the likes that took us into this. It's absolutely disgusting today that the clown with a hammer has left the circus and the mess that he created.
Now you've put your cards on the table. You're an absolute Remainer. You want us to stay Remained, and you're kicking the Leave camp. You're kicking the Leave people. And all that shit about your family dancing around saying the immigrants are going home. There was a subtext here. I spotted it. I expect better from a comedian. That was a very politically structured piece of shit speech you just made. And now you're calling Boris a clown with a hammer. Honestly, people are going to fall for this shit, and it winds me up.